Thank you for tuning in to V News. You're watching the bulletins. Coming up next are our top stories.
Vietnam and Japan agreed to boost trading in agroforestry fisheries products. A flagpole to mark national sovereignty is inaugurated on Phu Quoc Island, south-central coastal province of Bình Thuận. Mekong Delta businesses seek opportunities in Russia.
Vietnam and Japan have agreed to boost trading in agroforestry fisheries products during the second high-level dialogue on agricultural development cooperation in Hanoi on August 12th.
At the dialogue, the two ministers spoke highly of the close bilateral agricultural cooperation over the past years and heard reports on building mid- and long-term agricultural cooperation between Vietnam and Japan from 2015 to 2019. The two sides will step up the application of the public-private partnership model in agroforestry fisheries trade and boost collaboration in improving the value chain of farm produce from production to harvest and distribution of products. They will also work to expand material areas for production. Vietnamese Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development Cao Đức Phát said he hoped that with its high-tech agriculture, high competitiveness and good management skills, Japan would have Vietnam modernize its agriculture.
A conference was held in the Mekong Delta city of Cần Thơ on August 12th to provide market information and schedule for the Vietnamese high-quality product fair in Moscow.
Speaking at the event, Nguyễn Trí Tâm, former councillor in Russia, briefed businesses in the Mekong Delta provinces on the Russian market. Russia is the potential market for Vietnamese firms, while the Southeast Asian country has advantages on some sought-after products in Russia, such as footwear, garments, processed food, as well as handicrafts and gifts. Tâm said once the FTA between Vietnam and the Eurasia Economic Union comes into effect early next year, over 90% of Vietnamese goods will receive tax exemptions when exported to Russia, adding that Vietnam is the only country receives the Union's preferential treatment. Vietnamese firms can take advantage of a large community of overseas Vietnamese in Russia to integrate and expand their product distribution in the country, he noted. At the event, local businesses were also provided with information about the Vietnamese high-quality products trade fair in Moscow, slated for November this year.
Singapore has become Vietnam's leading investment partner after pouring over $33 billion into numerous local projects in processing technology, manufacturing, real estate, education, and entertainment. About $7.8 billion in foreign direct investment has been drawn to Vietnam-Singapore Industrial Park, VSIPs, creating jobs for over 155,000 laborers. The VSIP in central Quảng Ngãi province opened at the end of 2013. It has so far attracted 10 FDI projects with a combined value of over $132 million. Singaporean Temasek holding owned Mapletree Investment Private Limited has committed to splash out $1 billion on projects to develop industrial zones, offices, and condominiums in Vietnam. Famed Ban Yan Tree, Keppel Land, and Capital Land will also invest in numerous large-scale property projects in the country. Meanwhile, Freight Links Capital Private Limited will spend $114 million on 2 harbour bridges in Kỳ Anh district in the central province of Hà Tĩnh. Cooperative relations have advanced since the two nations signed a framework agreement on economic connectivity in 2005, focusing on education training, finance, telecommunication, investment trade, service and transport. Vietnam has completed the necessary procedures to start the VISP 6 in Nghệ An province, which is expected in the fourth quarter of this year. The VSIP 7 will be built in Hải Dương province. Shrimp exports to the U.S. are expected to increase in the last months of 2015 due to low tariffs and high supply. However, the growth will be modest as the US dollars and price competitiveness in the market are relatively high. We have more in the following report.
Shrimp exports to the U.S. are expected to yield $638 million in 2015, down 40% compared to the previous year. As of July 15, shrimp exports to the country had earned $284.6 million, plummeting 50.8% from the same period last year, the strongest fall in Vietnam's three biggest shrimp importers. The U.S. is Vietnam's biggest consumer, accounting for 20% of total shrimp exports. Shrimp exports to Japan, the EU, China, and the Republic of Korea likewise plunged 18.6%, 15.2%, 26.1%, and 19.3% respectively. In the reviewed period, total shrimp export turnover hit $1.4 billion, down 28.1% annually. Of the total, white leg shrimp accounted for $824.2 million, dropping 29.2%, and tiger prawn reached $460.2 million, down 30.2%.
The northern province of Quảng Ninh welcomed over 5.7 million tourists in the first 7 months of 2015, up 9% compared to the same period last year.
Total turnover from the sector exceeded 3.7 trillion dong, roughly $176 million, a 19% increase from 2014. Moving forward, the province will continue to implement the overall plan for local tourism development, the plan for developing tourism products through 2020, and the Ha Long Smart Plan. In addition, the province is cooperating with northern localities and Ho Chi Minh City to develop tourism products, conduct promotion campaigns, improve human resources, call for investment, and strengthen tourism management. Quảng Ninh province expects to welcome 8 million tourist arrivals this year, 3 million of whom will come from overseas, earning $367 million. It expects to receive around 10.5 million holiday makers in 2020, generating $1.38 billion in revenue and creating 62,000 jobs for the local people.
The island district of Phu Quoc in southern Kiên Giang province has attracted a huge number of investment projects. Worthy of note, tourism topped the list of new investment attractors. Giant developers like Vin Group and Sun Group are ramping up their construction of luxurious resorts, restaurants, hotels, and amusement parks on Pearl Island. Kiên Giang province has also allowed Sun Group to build a cable car from An Thới town to Hòn Thơm Island commune and a tourism complex with a total investment of more than $458 million. With incentives on income taxes, land tax, and others, Phu Quoc expects to continue to attract huge investments from local and international investors. In a master development plan approved by the Prime Minister, the island will be designated a special economic zone, a center for quality ecotourism, a trade and luxury services area, and a high-tech area. The island has a 150-kilometer-long coastline and beautiful beaches. The number of tourists visiting Phu Quoc Island has increased by 12% annually over the last 7 years, reaching more than 600,000 last year, while the current supply of rooms falls short of demand. At present, 136 projects are being implemented at a total registered capital of $6.6 billion in the district. The State Bank of Vietnam has widened the trading band of Vietnam dong to US dollars from positive or negative 1% to positive or negative 2%, applicable from August 12 onwards. With the average interbank Vietnam dong to US dollars exchange rate adjusted to 21,673, the ceiling exchange rate is now 22,106 Vietnam dong per US dollars, and the floor rate is 21,240 Vietnam dong per US dollars. This is the third time this year the central bank has adjusted the average interbank Vietnam dong to US dollars exchange rate. Previously, the bank raised the average interbank rate by 1% from 21,246 Vietnam dong per US dollars to 21,458 Vietnam dong per US dollars in January. It then increased it again to 21,673 Vietnam dong per US dollars on May 7th to ensure the Vietnam dong's stability following movements in domestic and international financial markets. A preferential credit policy to improve housing conditions for the poor in 2011 to 2015 period has been issued. It will benefit some 311,000 poor households living in rural areas, thus helping them escape from poverty and stabilize their life. Under the policy, a household can borrow at most 25 million Vietnam dong, 1,147 US dollars, at a preferential interest rate of 3% per year. Borrowers are able to extend the loan payment period by 5 years. They can pay by installments within 10 years. Each installment is equivalent to 10% of the total loan. Under a 2011 governmental decision, households with each member earning a monthly average income of 20 to 29 US dollars are eligible for the policy. The poverty rate among households nationwide was cut from 14.2% in 2010 to 5.8 to 6% by the end of 2014. The figure is expected to fall to below 5% in late 2015. Nguyễn Thị Ánh Viên went down in Vietnam's swimming history after earning the country's first ever medal at an ongoing global competition held in Moscow, Russia.
Vien secured a bronze medal in the women's individual medley, her strongest event, after spending 200 meters in 2 minutes and 12.33 seconds in August 11. She followed the current world record holder, Katinka Hosu, 2 minutes and 10.68 seconds, and Susanna Zakobos, 2 minutes and 12.15 seconds, both from Hungary. Being raced against other 6 swimmers at the 400-meter individual medley final round on August 12. At the recently concluded World Championships in Russia's Kazan, which was a higher level than the Moscow event, Vien only ranked 15th in the 200-meter individual medley.
Visitors to the Saigon Zoo and Botanical Garden in Ho Chi Minh City recently got a chance to admire 3 healthy Bengal tiger cubs for the first time since their birth last month.
The 3 white tiger cubs were born to Lam and Luke, the tiger and tigress in the zoo in the city's District 1. These are the first cubs of the 2 tigers belonging to the magnificent Bengal tiger breed or Panthera tigris. Like their parents, the young cuddly tigers boast of a creamy white coat with black stripes.
We always set a goal of preserving and multiplying rare and valuable animals, including tigers in need of urgent protection. It is so great that Vietnam has managed to preserve and multiply such rare and valuable animals. I hope that everyone raises their awareness of conserving wild animals in danger of extinction.
According to the World Wildlife Fund, the number of white tigers dropped sharply from 100,000 in 1990 to about 3,200 in 2013. The world is currently home to only about 2,300 white tigers.
And that was the end of our news bulletin. Thank you for your attention. For more information, you can log on to our website at www.vietnamplus.vn. We'll see you soon.